I think we're rolling. We're rolling. Do I see data? I see data. Data is flying by, so it looks like we are live and in living color, or at least processed color. Anyway, it's not really living color because I do process the color. So we are live and in processed color. Yes, at least for me anyway, so that I look a little more golden, so I don't look as pink.
And I look white.
And I see lots of people joining us already. So, hey, everybody. Feel free to say hi as we do the show and post your comments.
7 people.
Maybe we should start 24 minutes late, 43 minutes late more often. And
I guess.
Get more people to join us in
it was one of the... Ray had a meeting that ran long, and then his internet went in and out, and finally it went down and came back, and we think Comcast fixed it.
Yeah, no, Comcast doesn't fix nothing. I think it's just a bit of luck.
That was a joke.
No offense, Comcast. Well, actually, every offense, Comcast. You sons of guns, you rip-off artists. All right. Yeah. Probably going to get sued now for saying that. But all right, today, folks, we're going to talk a little bit more. We talked last week about using your smartphone as a camera. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about improving your video shoots. And to be honest with you, this is mostly, I wanted to talk a little bit about things like tripods, but I figure that's not quite an episode all to itself. So I wanted to talk about little tricks and things that will help you to shoot your videos better. So we'll talk a little bit about tripods and lights and things like that, and microphones, and then lots of other cool stuff. So should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. Yes, fun. That's what we do.
Good times.
Good times. All right. So with that, are we ready to get this show on the road?
We sure as heck are.
Well, excellent. Then here we go in 5, 4, 3. On today's episode of Video Marketing Madness, we're going to talk about how you can improve your video shooting. Ooh, should be a lot of fun. And today's episode is made possible by our friends at Best Buy. Yep, that's right, Best Buy. Now, some of you may be saying, wait a minute, what does Best Buy have to do with video shooting? Well, if you haven't been in a Best Buy, there are tons of really cool things that you can get at Best Buy that will help you with your shooting. These include getting cameras, getting cell phones that you can use as cameras. Do we still call them cell phones? I guess we say smartphones. I don't really say cell phones anymore. Smartphones. We're better than cell phones. But you can get tripods. You can get GoPros. You can get drones to fly over your neighbor's house. You can get all sorts of things. Your memory cards, your batteries. Best Buy has a ton of stuff. Nice high-end DSLRs. And of course, if you do Best Buy online instead of just walking into the store, they've got a ton more that you won't see on the shelves in there that you can pick up and then have delivered to the store. Or if they already have it in stock and you didn't know it, well, you can just go on down and pick it up after you order it. So how do you make that order? Well, all you have to do is head on over to raisebonuses.com/Best Buy. One word, BESTBUY. And when you head in there, you'll be able to pick up everything that you would need for a nice, easy shoot. And believe me, I buy things at Best Buy all the time. You don't need to go to fancy camera stores to get all these things. You need a memory card, I go to Best Buy. If I need a hard drive to put all my stuff on, I go to Best Buy. So when I get the lights that we see here that are making my background all these colors, I got them at Best Buy. So there you go. Can do a lot of fun there. So check it out, Best Buy. All right, let's hit that music. We're talking too much. Here we go. Music time.
He's Ray the video guy. Yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at. Even if he's a little fat, he's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.
And it's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the video guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. We are at govmm.com. My wife still hasn't made that logo thing you needed, but I'll bug her about it today. But it's if you're watching,
hey, it says GoVMM on there, so that's good.
It's good enough, and for now. And we got all the ways you can subscribe to the podcatchers. We're pretty partial to Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, leave a 5-star review. And all the social medias are over there, too.
Heck yeah. Check us out on YouTube. Leave some comments there, too. We got
everything. Heck yeah, boys and girls.
In fact, look at this. Look at this right down below us right now. YouTube now has over 1.8 billion users every month. Woo!
Wow.
And that's right near Facebook, and Facebook, they say 2 billion, but a couple of months there, it goes back and forth between which is the second biggest website: YouTube, Facebook, YouTube, Facebook. It's always Google number one, but YouTube, Facebook, they kind of flop back and forth between number 2 and number 3. So
I always thought
stuff.
that YouTube was actually the second largest search engine.
It is.
Yeah.
It's there's been some speculation that maybe one of the Chinese ones, with all those people there, is bigger, but no, apparently it's not. Apparently it is YouTube. And by the way, we talked about Best Buy, show being made possible by Best Buy. Well, I used BestBuy.com just the other day. I mentioned you can order online and then go and pick it up, and that's what I did with this here. I got a set of Skull Candy headphones. These are the little wireless earbuds, which I'm wearing my Apple one, so I don't know if that tells you anything or not, but I did just pick these up. They actually charged last night, so I haven't really messed with them too much yet, but they're nice. Picked them up, like I said, at Best Buy. They're about half the price of the Apple ones, even though I really like the Apple ones. Now, I did put them in. This is the actual one that I got. And the reason I bring these up is because one of the ways, we're talking about improving your shooting. Well, you want to be able to monitor the sound that you get, and I don't like the big over-ear earphones. I really like these Apple ones, and I wanted to check out the Skull Candy ones. So you can get these. These are about $80, and they are available at Best Buy. We actually also just started a program with Skull Candy, so we do have a sales system with Skull Candy products, but I don't have it all set up now. But you can get these at Best Buy, which is where I got these so that I could review them. If you like isolated sound, very cool stuff. So, and what I mean by that, sorry,
it's Skull Candy. It's for those of us listening in as opposed to watching. It's Skull Candy, and give a description of it for our listeners.
These are the indies, Skull Candy Indie, and it's, like I said, it's very much like the Apple EarPods in that you have the charger box. So this box here is actually a charging battery. So you charge this with a cord at the bottom.
Oh, nice.
And then while you're using them, this has a battery in it itself. And so at any time you can put them back in here in the case and get about 16 hours worth of sound without having to plug it back in. So and that's very similar to the way Apple works with theirs. The actual piece here has a battery in it, but also the case has a battery in it as well, so you can carry the case around and put them back in to charge them without plugging in. And so it's very nice. And like I said, these are like $85, $84. The Apple ones are, I think the new Apple ones are like $180. So that's a much bigger difference. Feels a little cheaper. The case doesn't feel as solid as the Apple one. It's a little bigger, bulkier, but feels like it's a little cheaper. But the sound is really good. If you like the isolation, and what I mean by that is when you put on these Apple earbuds, you can still pick up the surround, everything around you a little bit. It kind of has like this flow, whereas these here have that very tight in your ear fit that kind of isolate all the sound around you, so they almost work like earplugs. So none of the sound gets through. So it depends on whether you like that or not. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think I still like to wear these better. I think these are actually a tiny bit more comfortable and let the sound flow through, so I can wear these and know what's going on around me at the same time. But very, very nice for the price, 16-hour battery life. And you can get it from, like I said, made possible by Best Buy, and you can get these at Best Buy. And I did that. I bought on the website and then drove down and picked them up. So it was a very nice little process.
How long did it take to? How long did you have to wait to go drive down and pick it up?
They recommended an hour. So when I went to lunch, I just went over and grabbed it. And to be quite honest with you, had I gone 2 minutes later, I'm sure they would have just gone, "Oh yeah, give me a minute, I'll go get it." But they recommend an hour because they bring it up and they have it waiting there for you for when you come in. So.
What happens if it's something that's online but not in store and they have to ship it?
If it's not in stores, they'll tell you when it'll come in. They'll say, we'll have it in 72 hours or what have you. Because they do, Best Buy in the store, they're not going to have, well, they may, but a lot of times they're not going to have, like a really nice $2,000 DSLR. They might have the $1,500 one, but they might not have the $2,000 or $3,000 one.
Sure.
But online, they have it because there's no need to stock it in the store because, they might sell in the store, they might only sell 2 per year. So they'll just get it in when you need it. And of course, you can go online and do that. Now, you can always go online and have it shipped to your house too. But if you want to have it shipped to the store, you can do that. Either way works perfectly fine. But it was a nice experience, worked really well, and had my my new earbuds in an hour. I charged them last night, and I'll be ready to do a little testy poo on them. So
that's cool.
It's kind of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Best Buy, thank you for that.
And you say those are the isolation ones.
Yeah, they're not noise canceling. So I don't mean to insinuate noise canceling, but what I mean is they fit tightly in your ears and block everything out like an earplug does. Whereas the Apple ones, they actually have I don't even know what the word would be, but airflow, AIR can go through in and out, so you can still hear the things that are going on around you, which sounds a little more natural sometimes. You don't feel cut away from the world. So it just depends on what you like. Some people prefer to have that isolation. For me, I kind of like being able to know my surroundings. If you're a big music listener, then I would think that you'd probably really like to have the isolation. But for me, I usually only have one in, and I'm listening to a podcast, and so I'm still taking, still want to be participating in the world around me. So either way, but a great little product for the price. Absolutely, check it out. You can get the AirPods. The Apple AirPods there as well. So if that's what you like, you can get those at Best Buy as well. So don't want to turn this into a giant commercial for Best Buy, but just wanted to kind of share that experience because it is
a
new.
You just did.
Yeah, it's a new they're new to our show. They're new to our show, so I want to give them a little bit of a shout out there. So anyway, but of course that has to do with one of the secrets to shooting well is to use a set of earphones because you want to be able to hear what you're recording and what it sounds like, and that can be a big problem because believe me, I've talked about many times. I shoot on my green screen right here. I don't use a camera person because I don't need a camera person all the time. So I shoot with my iPhone, standing right there, shooting myself. And one of the weaknesses is I can't hear what the sound is like. So there have been times where, my microphone wasn't plugged in, and I was recording from the microphone on the phone instead of the lapel microphone, and didn't realize that it wasn't connected until I got back, and it sounded like this. And then I'm like, oh, crud.
Yeah.
So being able to monitor that sound is vital, especially if you're working for somebody else. Now, when I'm shooting for myself, it's just annoying and I do it again. If you're shooting it for a client, well, that can be a big problem. So you want to definitely monitor that. Make sure you have headphones. It can be wired headphones. It can be over-the-ear headphones. Or it can be, just these wireless buds. Whatever you want to use to be able to hear what's going on is going to be a big help for you. So you definitely want to make sure that you're monitoring the sound with whatever that you have, so that you can ensure that it sounds really good. Now, that being said, in order for it to sound really good, you want to have a microphone. And we've talked about microphones many times. A lapel microphone is an easy way to do that. You just clip it on your shirt, plug it into whatever camera you're using, and you record that way. It's wired, so you don't have to worry too much about interference or any issues. I like wireless mics. But the other day, I shot a little video of myself, and I used the wireless mic, and right in the middle at a crucial point, it dropped off for just a second. And so that ruined it. I had to do it again. Had I been using the wired mic, you don't have to worry about that. Now, does that happen a lot? No, it doesn't happen a lot, but every once in a while it can happen, and that's why you need to, be monitoring it, like I said. But, the wired mics are inexpensive, and they work well. And, of course, you can get the wired mics over at our good friends at Movo. Movo makes a ton of great ones. In fact, if you go to pocketvideopro.com/LV1, you can look at the wired lapel mic that we have there, the LV1, and you get a whole bunch of extra goodies with it, and it's less than $20. So you can improve your sound for less than $20. Why wouldn't you do it? The answer is you should.
Yes.
Okay? You should.
You have no reason not to.
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, if you don't have $20 to do it, get your client to pay for it. Come on.
Yeah.
One of my clients, I actually, these are inexpensive enough that I actually have a client, a dentist client that we picked up recently, and he wants to shoot, testimonials when people are in there, and he wants to shoot videos of himself and whatnot. And so I drove down and gave him one of those Movo microphones. I said, here, use this, plug it into your phone, and record this way. It'll sound a lot better. So now he has one of those, and I'm short one. So I've got a couple of them, but may need to go get another one. Yes, exactly right. No, I've got another one there. In fact, I've got a very cool one that I have to do a video on and show one time. It's a two-headed lapel mic, and I actually got it for my Mevo camera. Oh, wait, hold on. Is it Mevo? Yes, Mevo, which is
The
the Facebook camera.
Facebook Live, yeah. Okay.
Yep, the Facebook Live and live.com camera and or livestream.com camera. And that one, you plug the microphone into your phone, and your phone transmits to the Mevo, and the lapel microphone comes out of the phone and then splits into two and has two. Here we go, trying to do it on screen here. Two lapel microphones, so you can put one on you and one on another person, and they come together and go into the phone. So you get two heads on the one set of wiring. So that's a really, really cool microphone. I haven't done a review on it or talked much about it, but a very cool one. But great for doing interviews. So if you can get your hands on one of those, again, they're available at Movo. You can go to raisebonuses.com/Movo and search them up there. I don't recall the name of that particular one, but it's a dual-headed lapel mic, so you and another person can plug in and go directly into the phone. Now, you can't isolate your sound. I think it might isolate left and right still, but it's not going to be, you're going to be plugging into one port with the two microphones. But a great microphone to use when you're shooting those live things. If you're shooting interviews with people and you don't have an elaborate setup, you can put one on you, one on them, and do an interview. Or if you're interviewing two different people at the same time from a business, you can use that. So it's just going to help you to get good sound from both guys instead of trying to triangulate it. Which is what we did a lot of the times, which is if you've got two people, you put the wired, you put the lapel microphone somewhere that's equidistant from each of their mouths. So if it's on, one person is standing directly to your left, you would put it on you, but you'd put it on the left side of you so that, it's 6 inches away from your mouth and hopefully 6 inches away from theirs, and that way you pick up the same. But now you can do it with a dual head system, which is even better. So
now, let me ask, and I know we're already off topic for the first whatever minutes that we've been here, but, shooting videos, I guess we're good. The Mevo, the Facebook Live camera, do you have to patch that through your iPhone to do the Facebook Live?
To do the Facebook Live, you do, yes.
Okay.
Not your iPhone, but your smartphone, whichever phone you have. So it actually uses your phone as the way to get out to the world. It records, and by the way, the Mevo, great little camera. It will record to a card so that you have a copy of it, so you don't have to be going live. But the idea is you're shooting with that camera. It's sending it to your phone, which is what connects to the world and goes live for you. And then that way you plug your microphone into your phone. So if you've got your phone with you and the Mevo's over there, you can put the microphone on you and plug it into your phone, and boom, there you go. You got things going on. Or you could have somebody else monitoring using the phone, because you can see on the phone what you're shooting. And so it works well. And then they can actually control the camera and things like that. So
Got it.
Very fun. But yeah, that's another great one to use. That is something, if you're going to be doing, that may not be something if you're going to go and interview a local business. You could certainly use it for that. But that would be great if, for instance, let's say you need to broadcast an event. Maybe the company that you work with, they're going to be doing some sort of special event. You could stream it out to the world, a charity event, things like that. And that gives you the opportunity to put a camera on a tripod, to get a nice shot, to control it, have the microphones, and boom, you can do a really nice little video shoot with just a couple little pieces and set it up. Poor Mevo doesn't get enough use. It probably is. It's probably grown in size, fattened up because it's sitting there. It needs to go and get a workout in a few times here and there. So I need to set that thing up and start using it more often, because it just kind of sits in the closet, which is kind of sad. I've taken it to a few events.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Church I went to back home, that's how they stream their services Sunday mornings.
Oh, nice.
They do a Facebook Live. And somehow what they're doing, and I think I could figure it out myself, but they patch into the board for the sound.
Sure.
That is in the sanctuary, and patch that into their smartphone and do all that. So, and it works well.
It?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
No, it does. It works great. When we've been on a few events, where I've gone and spoke at events or whatever, I usually bring it and I'll interview people or do live videos with it there, just to, give it some exercise and use it. But I was thinking about doing, and I should patch it into the room here, so when I'm shooting stuff, I could be, doing a behind the scenes broadcast of us doing the shoots, which would be kind of fun. Of course, then I have to go get a second iPhone to do the actual shooting with, or use one of my cameras. Well, I can't really use my cameras, but that excuse me, and that's no big deal. We've got extra iPhones around that we can use for the regular camera and do that with. So maybe we'll start doing that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So that's one way is microphones. You want to make sure that you've got the microphones so people can hear you. You want to make sure you got the headphones so that you can hear what's being said to make sure that it's good. The next thing that I want to talk about, which is kind of what this episode was really geared around, which is tripods, because I think, it's probably not enough to do an entire show on tripods, but tripods are extremely important. In fact, I'm sitting here right now and I can see 4 tripods in my view right from this very moment, including the one that's holding this guy up. If you're watching on Facebook Live, that guy is being held by a very small tripod, a very cool tripod. It's about I think it goes up to like 30 inches or something like that. So, but it's got a very small base on it. So the base is like boop, and it just holds like that, and it's got a big straight rod, and you stick your webcam on top of that, or your smartphone, or whatever it is, and it's a really nice little one. Again, from our guys at Movo. So again, you can get that. Movo doesn't sell many tripods, but they do sell this one little tripod here at Movo, so you can check that one out. But then I've got a Bojan tripod over there, which holds my camera when I'm doing my shoots. That one is, Steve, you want to guess how old my Bojan tripod is?
That's got to be 30 years old.
You are spot on. It's about 30 years old. I got that tripod when I was in college at New England Technical College for broadcasting. I picked it up back then for probably like $200. Might have been $300. And
I can
I've
remember
had it for 30
using
years.
them. Yeah. I can remember using them back then. Yeah.
It's old enough that the head on it actually uses, and you might remember this. Remember the old octagon-shaped things that hold it on there? It still has that. You can't even get a replacement for that anymore. They don't even sell the octagon. I tried to get a couple replacements one time just to have them around, and they're like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen those in years. We can't get those. So I thought that was I'm sure you can get them online somewhere. But so we got that one over there. We got the small one here. I've got another one here, which this one actually holds up my other webcam. So I've got 2 webcams for when I'm sitting at this desk here. I can actually cut to this webcam, which is over in the corner here, and it's an overview shot, which I use once in a while. And they're both holding C920s, by the way, in case you're wondering what camera we use for the webcams. It's C920s. But this tripod here is it's a Sunpack 6464. Those are the cheapy tripods that you can get at like Best Buy for like $20, and we've had that for a while. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. This one's actually a little bit bigger. This one's a little bit nicer. So this one's probably a $30 tripod at Best Buy. I don't even know when I got it or why I got it or anything else, but for some reason I've got a bunch of these old cheapy tripods that we've picked up somewhere along the lines over the years, and they're great for. In the case of this webcam, it doesn't move. We don't do, we're not out there panning and tilting and moving it around or anything. It just sits here and holds a 6-ounce webcam on it. So it's perfect for that. It's going to stay there forever. It's never going to break sitting there. Now, if I was using this for an everyday tripod and running out to shoots and going to this place and that place and using it there, I'd probably break it. When I worked for Coldwell Banker shooting houses, we used to use these cheaper types of tripods like that. And, I mean, within 6 months, the parts are broken on it and everything, just from putting it in our trunk and taking it out and putting it back in and somebody knocking it over and then putting it in our trunks again and driving to another one. They just get beat up. But, this one I've had for a long time, works perfectly fine. I've got another small one over here, which actually used to be holding this one up, but it was a traditional tripod. So the base was too big to sit right on my desk. Well, it wasn't too big, but you could do it. But it was definitely too big, even though it worked. But we replaced that with the little Movo one, which is a lot better. So we got that little one there, and then I've got another one back over there that's holding up some other. Actually, it's not holding anything up; it's just sitting there. And that one is another one similar to the Sunpack, so very inexpensive. But the point is, I've been doing video for 40 years. Well, not 40 years. That'd be when I'm 5, which I guess we didn't really have much video then. But, for 30-some years, I've been doing video of some kind since I was a teenager, and I still use tripods. I don't try to do handheld. Now, every once in a while, we do some things that are handheld just because we have to or whatnot, but I still use a tripod. And if I'm still using a tripod, then somebody learning to shoot who doesn't have a lot of experience probably needs to use a tripod. In fact, there was an old joke. Somebody asked an old cameraman at Channel 12 where I worked. They said He said, well, how long you been doing this? Oh, I've been shooting video for 40 years. Oh, really? Wow, that's a long time you've been shooting this video. And he says, and you still have to use a tripod? He goes, why do you use a tripod? He goes, well, because I've been shooting long enough to know that you need one. and that's the truth. I'm sorry, but I don't care who you are. Most of the time you're going to want to use a tripod. Can some people do things very still? Can I use my iPhone and be very still and create a great shot? Yeah, I can, but not if I'm going to be, doing it for a long period of time. And just because you can kind of do something, that doesn't mean that when you're doing something important that, oops, something's going to happen that's going to mess it up. Even if you're the most stable person in the world and all of a sudden you cough, well, guess what? Your shot's ruined.
Mm-hmm.
You got to use a tripod there, and you can do it very inexpensively. Like I said, this tripod right here probably cost me $30. At Best Buy. I don't even remember it. I've had it forever because it doesn't do anything. It just sits there. And for most of us, when we're doing videos for local businesses and things like that, we're interviewing somebody. We're putting a tripod down. We're putting a camera on them. And the most we're really doing is maybe, taking a shot of them while they're talking and then maybe zooming in. Well, zooming in doesn't require much work with the tripod. It just has to work with you zooming in on the camera. Mm-hmm. So why would you need a really expensive tripod? You probably wouldn't. The Bojan tripod that I have over here, which is not a super expensive, I mean, you figure $300 30 years ago means it's probably about an $800 one now or $500 one now or whatever. To be honest with you, with most of the shooting that I do nowadays, I don't even need that, because that tripod sits there. It doesn't move. Sometimes I have to tilt it or move it a little bit, but, it has a nice fluid movement head, but I don't get any use out of that right now, usually. Potentially I might at some point, but for the most part, if you're just doing simple shoots, a tripod that you can get from Best Buy is probably going to be good enough. And, if you're going to be shooting and doing pans where you pan the camera across and tilt, you may want to go with a slightly nicer one because they're not going to be the smoothest when it comes to that kind of a thing, depending upon which one you get. So you want to check them out. But then again, most people don't need that. It's not something that they're in need of for that. So what I recommend actually right now is Best Buy has a few of these types of cameras. They've got one right now from Polaroid. Polaroid as in the old, instant camera company. And if you don't know, Polaroid, the instant camera company, went out of business a while back and the name was bought, and now there's, instant web cameras and things like that use Polaroid, but they make other products and put the Polaroid name on it. And this tripod, I believe it's it's under $40, and it's a very nice tripod, solid. It's not, it's not super heavy, sturdy tripod, so it's easily movable, but it's not so cheap that it's going to break very easily. So I recommend you check that one out. They do have it at Best Buy, and I believe you can get that if you head on over to, and I'll get you the actual link here before I forget what it is, which since I'm looking it up, I guess I already did kind of.
RaiseBonuses.com/Best Buy?
Well, you can go there to find it, but I've got an actual link directly to it, which is raisebonuses.com/Polaroid-tripod. Polaroid-tripod. And that'll get you right there to check it out and pick it up. Be careful. For some reason on the Best Buy site, it says that it weighs 68.8 pounds. That is not the case. I think it's supposed to probably say maybe 6.88 pounds. I don't know, but it says 68.8 pounds. It is not a 60-pound tripod, believe me. Even my 30-year-old Bojan tripod is not a 60-pound tripod. So, unless, now, actually, you know what? It's funny. I was joking about that, but now I'm thinking about it, and maybe it holds up to 68 pounds. Maybe that's what they're trying to say with that.
Oh.
And since the average camera is, 3 to 10 pounds, I don't see the need for that either, but maybe that's actually what they meant, is that's what it'll hold. But it says that it weighs 68.8 pounds, but it doesn't, I promise. You can put it in a bag and carry it around. Probably weighs, like I said, maybe it weighs 6 pounds. I doubt it. It's probably 3 pounds, but very lightweight, easy to maneuver. And again, just a good place to stick your camera and get a nice clean shot, because that's what we really want, is we want a nice clean shot that, it's just not jumping around and making people ill. And that's, so that's something that you want to look at. So tripods are the way to go. If you need to do something a little better, I would look at a place like B&H or something like that to find your really nice tripods, or even just Amazon. On Amazon, you can get some really nice Bojan tripods, and there's a bunch of other companies that make some nice ones that are in the $100 to $300 range that are actually really nice. And then, of course, they've got some super nice ones that'll cost you thousands. But if you want a nice one, if you're going to be doing, if you're going to be doing weddings and you needed to do pans and tilts and zooms, and you needed to run from one place to another and get that thing set up quickly, then you'd probably want to go with one that's a little nicer, more expensive. But when you're just shooting little interviews, or you're just pointing it at a green screen and it doesn't do much, a nice, easy tripod is all that you need. You don't need to spend a lot of money. People try to get you to spend money on everything, and you don't really need to. It's not really necessary. So that's it with the tripods. You want to stabilize your videos, that's the best way to go. And by the way, one thing that should be mentioned is, if you're going to be using your smartphone with a tripod, you do have to have a mount that will hold your smartphone. Places like Best Buy do have those. They've got the old cheapy ones that we used to sell, actually, that they kind of just stretch up and put on there. They're okay. They're cheap. You can get them at Best Buy, I think, for less than $10. But to be honest with you, if you want to get something that's nice and really holds your phone, isn't going to break very easily, has some extra features, allows you to stick a light on top of it or a microphone on top of it, I would highly recommend that you go and you check out at Movo the PR1 or the PR2. So if you go to pocketvideopro.com/PR1, you'll see it there. It's a great little holder, very sturdy. It actually has a handheld component to it, so you can hold it in one hand and put the camera on it and shoot, but you can also stick it on your tripod, which is what I use for my iPhone right there. I use the PR1. They have a PR2, which is kind of double in width, so you can put your phone on it, and it has two handles, so you can actually hold it almost like motorcycle handles and shoot, and it keeps it a little stabler if you're going to do it by hand, and allows you to put more stuff on it like lights and microphones and things to build a really nice rig. And that's the PR2 that you can check out there as well. I believe that one also is at pocketvideopro.com/PR2. I think we have a link for that as well. And with any of those, we give a lot of bonuses, so that's why I give you to the Pocket Video Pro page, because you buy this stuff and you get extras with that. So that's how you use your stabilizer. Get your phone on there. Use a phone holder to stick onto your tripod, and you get a nice shot. It's very quick, very easy, and you don't have to worry about making everybody ill when they watch your videos. All right, so now we've kind of talked about the technical side of tripods and lights, and we didn't really talk much about lights, but we've talked about lights in the past. The more light, the better. We don't need to get too many details into that. Using microphones here. Headphones to listen to the sound. Well, the other thing we want to talk about is kind of the way that you shoot as well. So once you've got your camera on your tripod, how do you want to shoot the things that you're going to shoot? Well, for the most part, when you're going to be shooting people, there's some rules that you want to use. Now, the great thing about cinematography is you have rules, and then you have people that break the rules specifically to create an effect. And we're going to talk mostly about the actual rules and the way that you want to deal with this, because you want to have, if you're doing a professional video, you're not doing a horror movie. So if you're going to be doing a professional video, you want to do it a certain way. And the best way to do that is if you're interviewing somebody that is selling a product or service, what you want to kind of do is you want to have your camera at about the same height as the person that you're shooting. So if the person that you're going to be interviewing is sitting on a chair, you want to have that camera nice and low. And the reason for that is you want the person to be looking at the camera to be at about eye level. Right now, this camera here is just about eye level. It's a tiny, tiny bit higher than eye level, but it's basically at eye level. And the reason for that is you want to look at the person that you're dealing with as an equal, okay? So if you're selling furniture, if you're selling, you're a plumber, well, maybe not even a plumber. We'll talk about that in a second. But if you're selling something to people, you want to be on their level. So literally, you've heard that term, on the level with somebody. Well, in the world of cameras, that's kind of what you want. You want to be at that level. Okay, so you want to seem like you're standing at the same height as you're looking them in the eyes. And that's just going to create that feeling of equality, that feeling of being on the same level. Okay. Now, if you're doing something where you're the expert and you're trying to teach something to somebody, you may want to have that camera a little bit lower so that kind of subconsciously, not, you don't want to be looking down, but you want to have them at a slightly lower angle. And the reason for that is because you're literally looking down on the people, because you're above them and you know more. You've got power over them and they want to get that power, so you stand over them. And, again, you're not making a horror movie, so you're not going to put the camera down at your feet and look down at it and make it look like you're 20 feet tall. It's a very subtle thing. You make yourself a little bit higher than the camera. Okay.
Orson Welles. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And on the opposite of that, if for whatever reason you are doing a video where you want the other people to be superior, you have the camera look down at you just a little bit. And that gives the people the power over you. And I'm not sure, I can't think of an example off the top of my head where that might be the case, where you would want to do that. But in whatever situation, maybe you're looking for donations for something. So you want to have the people have the power with that. You're lower than them. They've got the power over you. So the power position is being either higher or having the audience looking down or you looking down, whereas in the case of equality, you want to keep the camera at the same height. So if you're at a furniture store, you're interviewing the owner of the furniture store, you probably want to have them at an equal level and make sure that you frame them properly. So framing is very important as well. Now, you may have heard the rule of thirds, And if you can imagine the famous Brady Bunch picture with the 9 squares in the family, right? So they've got 3 squares across, 3 squares in the middle, 3 squares in the bottom. So you've got this tic-tac-toe board kind of on the screen. And so if you imagine every time that you shoot, imagine a tic-tac-toe board on your viewfinder. And so what you want to do is you want to have their eyes kind of be on that top line of the tic-tac-toe board, that top line that goes across. And that way their eyes are right on that, right at the top of right at the bottom of the top third of the picture. And I think we just lost Steve, but that's okay. We'll continue anyway. Oh, he's back. Kind of.
Back. Yeah.
So anyway, you want to make sure that their eyes, the person you're shooting's eyes, are on that level, that second line, down from the top. Whereas their mouth, depending on how close or how far you shoot it, their mouth will probably fall on that lower line of the tic-tac-toe board on the screen. Okay, and that's just going to put them in a nice framing. That'll usually give them a little bit of space above their head, which you can see like in this shot here, I got a little bit of space above, I got a little bit of space below. So if we imagine that tic-tac-toe board, it's going to go across like this with the eyes and the mouth being on that. Now, when you're doing an interview, there's different types of interview styles you want to think about. There's the kind where they're talking directly to the camera, which is what we're doing right now. I'm talking directly to this camera. I know with my eyes, it's a little tough to tell that sometimes, but I'm talking directly to this camera. So in that case here, you may have the person right in the middle of the screen, or you may have them off to the left or the right if you're going to put a graphic on there, but they're looking directly at the camera. Okay? This can be done right from the center. Now, if you're doing the traditional, what I call the morning show interview, which is where the person is kind of talking off to the side. So they're not looking at the camera. They're looking at a person who's interviewing them who's off to the side of the camera. So you get that 3/4 view of their face and they're kind of looking off to the side. What you want to do with that is you want to make sure that the back of their head is getting close to the end of the frame. Okay? And then in front of their mouth, they have more space. So if you imagine the tic-tac-toe board again, the 2 vertical lines, you want to have the person on that second vertical, on the vertical line closest to the end that they're on. So the back of their head will be beyond that third, and that line will kind of dissect their head, and you'll have about half the screen in front of their mouth that's open. And the reason for that is because when they're looking off, it gives that feeling that they're looking and talking to somebody else. Now, I'll be honest with you, we fake this quite a bit when we interview people. They may not be talking to an actual person. I'll set up the camera, I'll put them in a chair, and I'll hold my hand out and I'll say, stare at my hand when you talk to it. And so they're looking off to the side as if they're talking to an interviewer. And that's great documentary style, but again, you want to make sure the eyes are in that middle, that top line, the mouth is somewhere near that bottom line, okay, with a little bit of space between the head and the top and a little bit of space between the chin and the bottom, and that they're over to the far side with the back of their head close to the end of the screen with more space in front of them. And that's just going to give it a nice style there. Now, when you zoom in, you have to think about getting closer with these things. So when you get closer, you still want to try to get the eyes onto that top line of the tic-tac-toe board and the mouth on the bottom part. And you may cut off the chin, you may cut off the top of the head, but you want to make sure that those middle features are still in between those two lines as best as possible to give it that nice framing. If you're going to zoom out, if you're going to have somebody, maybe they're standing on a green screen, which I do quite often, you again want to give them a little bit of headroom, so there's a little bit of space above their head, and then maybe you're going to be shooting all the way down to, just below their chest. Okay, and that's a pretty good one. You never want to shoot from like the waist up. It's always a little awkward looking, but if you do from the chest up to the head and give a little bit of headroom, that's usually about appropriate. In some cases, if you've got the room, you may shoot somebody where you see all the way to their feet. It's going to be rare. In the business we're doing, it's usually going to be chest up, upper chest up, and then chin up for the close-up shots. And those are really going to give you a nice image that you can provide to people, and it's just going to look a lot more professional. Now, another little secret, and this is a little more complex, and it depends on the camera that you're using. If you're using a webcam, you're not going to be able to do this. If you're using some smartphones, you're probably not going to be able to do this. If you're using a traditional video camera, one thing that you may want to do is, rather than setting your camera up and framing the person in the frame, what you want to do is you want to back the camera up a little bit so that it's a little bit wider. So maybe now you're getting above their head all the way down to their waist, and then you use the zoom to zoom in a little bit instead of moving the camera in. And the reason for that is that's going to help you to give that effect of the person being in the foreground and the background being a little bit more blurred. So you want to make sure that you adjust your focus so that the person in the camera is being focused on, but that will give you a little bit of that nice blurred background. And it's just going to help make your videos look even more professional. So again, just to recap all of this, you want to make sure that you're using a microphone to capture good audio. You want to make sure that you're using headphones so that you can hear that you're getting good audio. You want to use a stabilizing system, a tripod, a monopod, maybe even a Steadicam. A Steadicam is one that you wear that holds your cameras steady. Or a gimbal. Gimbals are popular nowadays with these smartphones, which is a little handheld device that mechanically keeps your camera stable. It's very cool. And of course, if you're doing anything handheld, if your camera has it, you may use optical image stabilization on the camera. So make sure if you're going handheld, you turn that on. If you're not going handheld, try to turn it off. And what that does is that reduces the actual lens moves to an opposite of the camera. So if you're walking down the street and your camera bobs up, the lens is going to compensate for that to help keep it more stable. When you're shooting on a tripod, you want to turn that off though. Just remember to do that. But stabilize your image. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you have a proper mount for your smartphone so that you can put it on the tripod that you've got. Make sure that your lighting's good. Make sure that you frame your images properly for whatever purpose that you're using. Use the rule of thirds on both vertical and horizontal to make sure that you get a beautiful shot. If you do all of these things, you're going to have a great video each and every time and look more professional than you might actually be. So there you go. What do you think of that, Steve?
There you go. Good
Woo!
stuff. Yeah.
Indeed.
I remember all this stuff from college, from taking production courses in college.
Me too. We went, yep. That's the thing is none of this stuff changes. Of course, breaking the rules for certain types of things. If you want to give somebody superpower, then you would shoot the camera, up at them so they look like giants. And, maybe you want to off-put people so you shoot them from the side, but you move them to the wrong side of the frame and things like that. But for the most part, you want to have nice lighting. You want to have nice framing. You want to have good sound. You want to keep it nice and stable. And if you do that, you're going to have a nice professional video that you can use. So even with a smartphone.
Even with a smartphone. Well,
all
your sales videos, you use your iPhone for that, and they got three lenses now on the 11.
On the new one, yeah. And by the way, last week this show was made possible by that iPhone 11, which you can still get by heading on over to raythevideoguy.com/iPhone11, and those new 3 lenses. Woo, daddy! You can do some pretty neat things that you wouldn't think would be possible. But somehow they've made it work. Crazy stuff.
Do you know why I use a tripod?
Because you're smart enough to know to use a tripod.
That, and I'm not stable.
Yes, that's true.
Thank you very much. I'm here for a while.
At least 7 years.
7 years, yeah, at least 7 years.
Well, at least it's been 7 years, I think so.
Oh boy, yeah.
We
started this show 6 years ago. 6.5 years ago.
I think it's more than that. because I was listening to a podcast the other day that I've listened to since the beginning, and that podcast is not that old. I didn't think it was that old, and it's celebrating its 5th year, and we were on long before those guys ever were.
I thought we started 2013. Was it before then?
I don't know.
Could have been. I don't know. Anyhow, I have 2013 in my head, but maybe it was before then.
Maybe it is. Tough to say.
Who knows? It's
only
a
the shadow
mystery.
knows.
Only the shadow do.
Only the shadow knows, which was probably on when we started. So.
Yeah, that's right. All righty. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow do.
I do too.
That was a joke.
All right. With that, another episode in the box, ready to be shipped off to the Podcasting Hall of Fame for their Video Marketing Madness collection, and
in Canton, Ohio.
In Canton, Ohio, indeed, where they put it in a pile with who knows what else.
Yeah.
But in any case, until next time, folks, remember to get out there, start shooting some video, because everything that we talked about works, but only if you do. Mm-hmm. Get in the time. Get out there and work. And with that, shall we hit that funky music, Steve?
Hit that funky music, Ray.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy.